Hello, I'm Jennifer Grace and I'm here with another Scrap 365 Sketch Challenge. This is the October 2014 Sketch Challenge, and this month 7 Gypsies are sponsoring the prize, and they've sent out some supplies to us lucky DT members. So here's the sketch. We've got some circular elements and some scattered embellishments on there. I'm going to be using a lot of these bits I've got laid out here. I've got some Heidi Swap Gold Mist, some string, the 7 Gypsies Serengeti collection, which is the one they sent to me, and a variety of other embellishments and bits and pieces from my stash. The photos of my sister when she visited South Africa this year. This is her in Cape Town. So those are the bits I'm going to use. Let's get started. So one of the main things I noticed about the sketch this month was the circular details on the background. So I wanted to work out how I was going to do those. First of all, I chose some of the 12 by 12 papers that I liked best from the collection. I like the patterns on these ones. I mainly want the Cape Town piece of that paper. But I wanted to decide which one I was going to use for the actual background paper for my page. I knew I wanted to scatter around quite a lot of details, and I decided to cut my circles from some of the paper using my Cricut Explore. So first of all I cut these dark circles and tried them out on the lighter backgrounds, but I felt that the lighter backgrounds were actually quite busy. There's a lot of text on there, a lot of different things going on, and the circles didn't contrast enough with that. I tried them then out of the lighter text paper to see if they contrasted enough with the medium coloured background paper, but again there was still just too much going on. I didn't want it to be overwhelmed once I added all my embellishments and other details. We know I like to fill up my pages. So I decided on the text paper lighter coloured circles on the darkest brown background because it's a lot plainer. They stood out nicely. So I cut out my circles at 5 inches, 4 inches and 3 inches. The Sketchy Circles die cut is available as a cut file on my blog, free cut file if you would like to use it. You can cut them out at any size you want because you can just resize them in your software. So once I had the circles sorted, I then cut out the Cape Town piece from the other piece of background paper and started to work out where my other bits were going to go. I should tell you that these papers are a bit thinner than some background papers would be, so if you add a lot of mixed media to your pages, you'd want to back them first with a bit of cardstock or something like that to make them a bit stronger. I cut out a couple of strips of the other background papers, a strip of the text one. Even though I've used it for the circles, I thought I could have it on there somewhere else as well, and a piece of the map paper. In particular, I selected a piece that had the word Africa on it, so that would extra enhance the theme of the page. And then I just played around with them, checking it against the sketch, working out what made a good pattern on the page. I liked having the text paper overlapping the circles cut from the text paper. I kind of liked the way they blended in, and it broke up the circles a bit, made the page slightly more edgy. Once I'd worked out where I wanted the circles and the 2 paper strips to go, I then pulled together some of the other bits and pieces and started working out where they were going to go. This Serengeti collection has got lots of cool bits and pieces in it. It's got ephemera, vintage photos, ATC folders. So I picked a selection of those the ones that particularly complemented the colours of my page or that I liked the patterns on, and started working out which arrangement I wanted them to go in. It took me a while to choose which of these ATC folders I wanted to have, but I decided to go with the more yellow coloured one as it brought out the warm temperature in the photo. It also took me a while to work out where on the page to put it. I had to try and arrange it so that it didn't all get too overwhelming, but I wanted to fit quite a lot of these bigger pieces on the page because I really like them. Eventually I decided it fit down beside the photo quite nicely, and then I just started tucking some more pieces around. Got a chipboard arrow here from Pink Paisley that I've pre-misted. Just a selection of odds and ends from my stash. I love delving through the bits and pieces, finding some that have complementary colours or that just suit the theme. I had to have a camera on here because my sister just loves taking photos. She's got an awful lot of selfies on her Facebook page, but they're all amazing because she's gorgeous. Once I had most of the pieces placed, I realised I wanted this vintage photo piece to have a bit of colour on it because it was a bit too black and white for the warmth of my page. So I got the Heidi Swapp Gold Mist. I forgot to shake it up at first, but that was okay because it meant it was a bit more watercolourish. And I just used a sponge to dab this all over the vintage photo. I didn't want to change the colour completely, I just wanted to give it a bit of a hue. If I wanted to colour it a bit more thoroughly, I'd use actual paint or ink, but this gold mist just gives it a nice shine, a nice vintage effect. While I was waiting for that to dry, I took a photo of my page so that I could remember the layout. Then I started pulling off the top layers because I needed to stick everything down. So I kind of held on to the layers that I wanted right at the bottom, and I piled up the other ones on the right hand side, and I piled them up in order so that the top one would go on next, if that makes any sense. So I would be working from the top of the pile down to the bottom, and then I just started picking things up and sticking them on, trimming off the bottom of the background paper here, and I did need to keep referring to the photo that I'd taken on my camera to make sure that I was getting things in roughly the right place when I was putting them back on the page. I didn't want to completely alter the arrangement that I planned out. I don't worry about it too much if I get things slightly different, as long as I manage to get the pieces of paper up the right way and things like that. It would have been really annoying if I'd have gone to stick it all down and then at the end realised that I'd hidden the word Africa underneath the photo or something like that. So I do keep referring back to the picture I'd taken on my camera. Just make sure also that I'll be able to fit everything on, because I've done it before where I've stuck everything down and then got to the last piece and thought, oh no, I didn't leave space for that. Luckily I do use a repositionable tape runner now, so I can move things around a little bit. It's not quite as bad as it used to be when I'd stick it down with double-sided sticky tape and that was it, couldn't move it then. So I'm sticking all of these down with my tape runner. It's Herma repositionable tape runner, including the circles. I don't worry about sticking down all of the circle, I just make sure there's a bit of glue on there to hold it down. It's going to go into a page protector anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly stuck down all the way around. I started sticking my photo down with the double-sided sticky tape as well, but then I realised that I'd prefer it to be on with foam tape, just to help it stand out from all these different details I've got going on the background. It needed a bit of a lift. Plus she's on Table Mountain, so it should be a bit higher up surely. So I just added some foam tape all over the back of the photo and stuck it down. Unfortunately this isn't repositionable, so I had to get it right. And if it wasn't perfect, then tough luck. This ATC folder I'm going to use to put a journaling area in. You'll see me do that in a little while. Okay, once I'd got most of those pieces stuck down, I went back to check if my vintage photo was dry, which it was. If it hadn't been, I could have dried it off with a heat gun or something like that, but it was ready. So to give it an extra bit of vintaginess, I got a brown ink pad, Jumbo Java, and just inked the edges a bit, just to kind of give it that extra worn look, and it helps it blend into the background of my page. So I just had to try and work out where that one was going to go, move the circle along a bit, and added that to the page. Okay, and then I mentioned that I was going to use this ATC folder as a journaling space. I'm not actually going to journal in it myself. I'm going to leave that for my sister to do because the photo is of her after all. But I'm going to use a piece of ledger paper from a Snap 6x6 paper pad, and I'm going to chop it down to the correct size and stick it inside the folder. So I've just used a pencil to mark what size it needs to be, just to get it the perfect size, and then I'm going to put it in. I don't know if this layout is going to end up in one of my albums or whether my sister's going to have it and make her own scrapbook album. I'm trying to encourage her. But there we go, she can fill that out at least. Now I'm just going to arrange my other embellishments. I did already plan out where some of them are going to go, but I might add a few extras as well. When I'm placing these on the page, I'm trying to make sure the colours are repeated around the page, bringing the red in particular into a few different places, particularly because there's no red in the photo, but I wanted to use it because it's such a warm colour, and you know, it's a really hot country that she visited. In the photo it looks lovely and sunny and warm, so I really wanted to bring that heat into the page. Because it's not in the photo, I need to make sure it's spread around a few different areas just to kind of keep it even and make sure it doesn't take over the photo, it doesn't overpower the photo because it's such a bold colour. So I've just got the kind of little spots of it spread around the page. I love this little puffy sticker aeroplane from my Amy Tangerine sticker set. I'm going to add some letters for the title. I want it just to say "in Cape Town," nice and simple, but it says what it needs to say. Okay, now you're just going to see me sticking down the rest of the embellishments. I use glossy accents to stick a lot of them down, and then I also use some Wacko pearl pens, which I discovered via Carola Vitzkek from the Glitz Design blog. I asked her how she got her lovely little dots of pearls all over the pages, and she pointed me in the direction of these pearl pens, which I really love using. They do take a while to dry though, so I've smudged them a couple of times. But as long as I remember to put it aside to dry long enough, it's okay. And they look really great. I'm just going to put on some music while you finish watching me put together the rest of the page. Right, this is Jennifer Grace. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget you can get the Sketchy Circle free SVG cut file at my blog, Jennifer Grace Creates. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.